us on the hot seat. I should make mention that we are live on Kwitu FM on 93.3 FM. We're live on Canela FM on 97.7 FM in Lundazi. We're live on DSTV channel 912, Go TV channel 301. Those particular platforms, you'll be able to catch up with what's going on the hot seat. Be sure to tune in on those particular platforms. We're live on our Facebook page, Hot FM Zambia. So be sure to, leave us a comment on that particular page. If you have a question for Mr. Kalaba, we will put those questions forward to him a little later on the show. Allow me to welcome my guest on the show. Good morning, Mr. Kalaba. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Pizzy. Good morning, Neb, actually.
Yes, good morning,
I'm happy to be here. It's always good to be on the hot seat.
It's good to have you on the hot seat, as always. I would like us to start our conversation this morning by just getting your reaction to what happened in Kabwe yesterday, where we did see some UPND cadres yesterday allegedly, abduct PF faction president Given Lubinda in Kabwe while addressing a meeting. What's your reaction to what transpired in Kabwe yesterday?
Very, very sad, extremely sad. And I never thought that I would see such a day in the life of our country where an elderly citizen, a person that has served this country with a lot of distinction, one that was our justice minister, can be humiliated in broad daylight. And that is passing for politics. I think that is extremely wrong. It takes away from our standing in the eyes of the region as well as the international community, because Given Lubinda is not only a politician in Zambia. Given Lubinda has represented this country outside Zambia, outside the region, and therefore everybody takes an interest when they see that a distinguished personality like that is being humiliated in broad daylight. And that is sad. That cannot be tolerated. It cannot be condoned. And I followed the press briefing by Honorable Jack Mwembu yesterday when he was addressing you colleagues, that they are going to follow this issue to the hilt. And I want to believe that Honorable Jack Mwembu is not just talking the talk. He's going to walk the talk. He will make sure that perpetrators, because they are known, there's a video which has gone very viral, those should be brought to book and account for their actions. Because today it is Given Lubinda who's being humiliated like that. Tomorrow it will be Harry Kalaba. The other day it will be another opposition political leader. And that cannot pass for politics. That is wrong. And we condemn it in the strongest terms possible as Citizens First. Do
you believe this incidents reflects a broader trend of political intolerance in the country?
Exactly so, because remember that after the unfortunate incident in Chingola, there was a statement which was made by Honorable Kasauto Michelo, Member of Parliament for Bwengo,
yes,
who clearly said Kadarism is back. Where I come from, they say, meaning the day that an elderly person has disappeared in the village, Yahina develops white hair. So it is difficult to think of these incidences in a separate thinking, because when Michelo says Kadarism is back, just 2 days later or 3 days later, Given Lubinda is humiliated in Kabwe by cadres, and then another cadre comes to defend the actions that they have taken. And the example they were saying for behaving in the manner they behaved was that Lubinda needed to get a police permit before he would have his meeting in Kabwe. But that is not the preserve of the cadres of UPND. That is not their problem. That problem, if Lubinda did not get permission from the police or clearance from the police, it is not the issue of cadres to sit and say he didn't get, so we took the law in our hands. It is an offense to take the law in your own hands. Therefore, we believe ourselves as Citizens First that the long arm of government is going to touch those colleagues, because this is now like a premeditated action. It is not happening in isolation. It is happening because some UPND big guys have said they are going to act. We have seen the words of the Lusaka province, provincial chairman, Moliteta, also was saying things similar to what we are now seeing. So obviously, the happenings in Kabwe are not an isolated incident. These are actions supported by the leadership of the party, and they are on record that this thing is going to happen. Now, we are taking a lot of interest as Citizens First in that regard. A lot of interest, because we will not allow Kadarism to pass. Because look, what was bad in the PF should still be bad in the UPND. If the PF was booted out of government for the fact that they were condoning cadarism, it is the same fact that the UPND must also be booted out of government for tolerating what the Zambians rejected. We are not going back to vomit. We are not going back there.
Mr. Kalaba, you said the party or the leadership, haven't acknowledged this, but we did hear from Mr. Imenda after the member of parliament issued that statement to say cadarism is back. He quickly dispelled those assertions, saying that's not the party's stance on the issue to do with cadarism. What's your reaction to that? Because he's made it very clear that they still are against cadarism and they don't tolerate it.
I don't know if I will take Mr. Imenda's statement seriously, because the last time I took him serious was when I stopped taking him serious was when he refused to apologize to the Catholic Church after he said that Bishop Ali Banda was Lucifer. He refused to apologize and he kept quiet on a very substantive matter. And therefore, for me to hear him say anything that is proposing development or anything, I take it with a pinch of salt. Because what matters most to the UPND, especially Mr. Imenda and his team, is politics and not what should be happening in our country. And therefore, for me, really, Mr. Imenda is not the person that should speak. The problem with the UPND is the politics of playing double standards. They play double standards so much. One would say this, then the other one would go and say the other opposite thing just to play politics and playing to the gallery. That is not the way to run a country. If Michel Lokasauta was wrong, what actions have been taken against the member of parliament to show, not just in words, to show in action that Mr. Michelo was wrong? What I would have expected is that Mr. Michelo would have been caught by the police for proposing violence. If it was anybody in the opposition who did what Mr. Michelo did, they would have been summoned by police. Mr. Michelo should have been summoned by police. Or we should have seen Mr. Chilema issue a public statement condemning Mr. Michelo. But those two things have not happened. To sit here and play to the gallery of Mr. Batuka Imenda's statement that no, he said this. Mr. Batuka Imenda, I don't think is being listened to by his own people in the UPND. They don't listen to him so much, from what I've gathered. And therefore, for us, the public, to listen to him when his own people don't take him seriously, I think you'll be expecting too much from our end.
Let's look at this incident and the police, the cow incident. You did listen to the Home Affairs Minister promise action, that they will look into it and make sure that they arrest these people that harassed Honorable Lubinda yesterday. What action do you expect from law enforcement agencies and the government in response to such incidents? And I say this because a lot of questions have arisen as to why those people were not arrested after the minister did inform the nation that the police actually rescued Honorable Lubinda from those people. The question is, why weren't they arrested? What sort of action do you expect from them? And earlier today, we did hear from Zambia Police spokesperson who said their mission was to rescue Honorable Lubinda and not to really arrest anybody at that time. And that's the logic they applied.
Now, please, those are the jokes that the country is being constantly treated to. Remember that Honorable Lubinda's incidents happens when there's been a litany of other events that have precipitated before Mr. Lubinda's event. You will recall that former President Lungu, may his soul rest in peace, was insulted. And the insults were all over social media by some youths in Northwestern Province. And no action was taken against those youths. So this has been a build-up. We have seen that there was a PF cadre that was abducted just not too long ago. Again, no action has been taken by the perpetrators of that illicit action. Then now we see what happened at the PF Secretariat just a few days ago. Nothing happened also to those that perpetrated that act. Then you see Honorable Lubinda's event. Nothing has happened. But I don't want to talk about my own experience, busy. Remember, in Northwestern Province, I was almost taken out of life by cadres who were driving their vehicle, and the police identified the UPND vehicle. And again, our police have now become experts at trying to sanitize the illicit actions of the UPND. And I think that should come to an end. The police is supposed to be a service. It's supposed to be protecting all of us. And again, when you hear them say their mission was to rescue Honorable Given Lubinda and not to prevent or not to arrest the perpetrators of that heinous crime, it worries me that we are going for elections, and if the police does not act on the criminals, because I call them criminals, who can go ahead and begin inflicting pain, inflicting fear in the citizens of Zambia 6 months before an election, that should be very worrying for any serious citizen. So the answer by the spokesperson of the police that their mission was to rescue Honorable Lubinda and not to deal with the perpetrators of that act, I think falls far below the standards of an answer that should come from a police force, a police service. We want to advise our colleagues in the police service that they have an inescapable responsibility. They have a duty to protect every citizen of this country, regardless of their political affiliation. And that if they don't do that, they will now let citizens begin feeling very vulnerable. They will allow citizens to begin feeling unprotected. And that's not what we want in this country. Zambia has been known to be a haven of peace. We have investors coming in this country because lawlessness is not tolerated in this country. So if the police would want to play politics with the UPND, that is up to them. Our advice to them is stop it, behave yourselves, just do your duty, don't fear anybody, because these guys in politics today in offices are not there in perpetuity. Today, it is Mr. Ichilema who's president. Tomorrow, it is Harry Kalaba who's there. Why do you want to begin answering questions when the person you are defending will not be there anymore? Defend the system. Don't defend the person.
I want to ask you this, Mr. Kalaba. What's your solution to all this? First, what's your solution to cadreism? And how are you promising to take care of the young people? Because we've heard this where young people feel used after they support, they are your foot soldiers, they spread your message and they win. They feel indebted to the political party. What are you doing as a citizens first to make sure that these young people do not feel like that if you make, you win the 2026 general elections, become president, just to avoid problems like we are seeing now?
If you win, when you win, because we are winning the elections next year. When we win the elections next year, the youth will take their rightful place. And I want to talk to the youth out there. I am with the youth chairman here. He's come here. And one of the things that we have been discussing with the youth chairperson, including my colleagues, Stanley Mwango, who's also here, our provincial chairman, is that it is high time we began using youths for productive activities. That's why we are engaging our youths in research. We are engaging our youths in actions that are going to enhance their own livelihoods, as opposed to being used to throw stones. Those politics ended with the vigilantes. The vigilantes in UNIP tried that method. It didn't help. The MMD also tried it. It couldn't help. The PF tried it. It didn't help. And politicians are bad students of history. They want to perpetrate acts that will not help them. The youths should also avoid being used, because why are the politicians who've got many children, most of these politicians have got a lot of children, why are they not using their own children to go and harass leaders? They are using other people's children. Their children are busy watching Supersport and they're busy drinking Fanta and ice, when other people's children are the ones being used because they have deprived them of opportunities. They have chosen not to give them life-saving activities. They have given them poverty, and in exchange for small favors, they tell them, go and harass that one, you'll get a 20 kwacha. Go and harass that one, you get a 50 kwacha. What the youths want from us is to access the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission. What the citizens want from us is to have tax breaks, tax holidays, like the UPND is giving to foreigners. What the youths want from this government is to ensure that they are part of the decision-making process, that the 8 members of parliament which the president should have nominated, some youth should have been nominated in there. We didn't see that. Out of the 116 district commissioners appointed by the president, we should have seen some youths appointed. No one has been appointed. Out of all these permanent secretaries we have in government, we don't have any youths who's a permanent secretary. So the youths have been neglected by the UPND government. They have not been given life-saving skills. They have not been incorporated in the governance of our country. And the only time they remember the youths is when it is 7 months before the elections. They see opposition leaders organizing themselves. They send them to go and intimidate them so that they can continue in power. That is not going to work. You, the young ones who are being used, let us learn from what happened in Zimbabwe. I'm giving this example because it happened in Zimbabwe. Busy. In Zimbabwe, there were some youths who were so much around President Robert Mugabe, insulting leaders, intimidating the people in power and in offices so that they can get it their way. When President Mugabe was removed from office, may he so rest in peace, those youths had to face the temerity of their own actions. There was no one to protect them. Many, as you and I are speaking today, are serving sentences in Harare, sentences in Bulawayo, because they chose to patronize a leader. They didn't want to enhance their own life-saving skills. The CF is saying that is coming to an end. We are a peaceful party. Even under heavy provocation, we have chosen not to go against the laws of the country. Even when we have applied, when we were in Mufiri for Thanksgiving rally in Lupososhi, Pizi, we had gotten a clearance from the police to have that meeting. The police came the following day, even when we had gotten clearance from them. They came trying to stop us. And our youths wanted to start stoning the police because there were only about 20 officers in riot gear, and we had over 3,000-4,000 youths around there, and the police would have been overwhelmed. It took the responsibility of our leaders to tell them, ours is a struggle with a difference. It is not one where we use stones to humiliate public officials. Let us reason with them. Let us tell them that we got authority to be here. Let us show them our documents. And indeed, we reasoned with them and we finished the issues. We can still do politics without violence. We can do politics without intimidating one another. We should be talking about ideas. We are a country that is 61 years of independence, and yet we are having 21 hours of load shedding. We are a country with about 22 million people. 80% of our youths are still struggling and wallowing in poverty. We are a country that should be talking about how our farmers, this is November going to December after next week, our farmers who sold their produce to Food Reserve Agency way back in June have not yet been paid their monies for the next farming season. How then will Zambia become a breadbasket for the country and the region if we cannot pay our small-scale farmers, who should be the backbone? Dr. Kaunda, 27 years of his being president, he knew that farmers needed to be looked after. This government doesn't. So it is warped priorities. Warped priorities, that is what is even putting us where we are. Youths now have to be relevant, and they're taking advantage of them to perpetuate their own advantage.
Kalaba, I want us to get to the citizens first. We're slowly approaching 2026, August. We're in that calendar year. If we count up to August, we're already in that election year. How is the Citizens First mobilizing at grassroots level ahead of next year's election?
Right now, the Citizens First is busy mobilizing all across the country. We have had an issue now going on, which is voter registration, which we are telling our people in the various constituencies that they should register as voters. As you know, the Citizens First will be one of the most competitive political parties next year. The people are pinning their hopes on the Citizens First, and we are not taking that responsibility lightly. We are taking it seriously. That is why we have intensified our mobilization skills. I'm just coming from Livingstone, where I was. Quietly, I entered into Livingstone, talking to leaders, went to Kazungula, meeting our officials, because it is important that we galvanize the country, not a region.
I wouldn't say quietly, Mr. Kalaba.
It was quiet.
No, I wouldn't call it quietly.
But Pizzi, you saw that there was no halabaloo that I was in Livingstone or in Kazungula.
But we knew you were in Livingstone.
Yes,
that's my point.
Yes, you would know that I'm in Livingstone, but the actual activities I'm doing were very silent because there are things that we want to publicize and some things should not be publicized.
Okay.
Because we know that winning an election is strategy. And we are very geared with that strategy of winning the elections next year. So we are doing mobilization all across the country. We've continued with our rallies. There's a rally happening in Impika, I think this weekend. They have already asked for for a clearance this Saturday. There is a rally coming up on the 29th, which is next week, Saturday in Chipata. So we have begun applying for rallies all over the country. And that's why I laugh when some people say, no, Harry Kalaba is being favored. How come he's the only one who gets rallies and us we don't get rallies? I'll tell you for real that no one is favoring us. We are pushing and fighting hard. We have applied now 28 times. We have only been allowed 4 times. 4 out of 28 times. You call that being supported, eh? And the UPND came on the platform of giving chance to political opponents to air their views with the general public. They have performed badly because the UPND wants to be the only ones dancing on the political stage. And we are reminding them this is a democracy, not an autocratic state.
What are you doing right that the other opposition political parties are not doing as far as, notifying the police and getting clearance from the police to say, please go ahead with this rally? Even though you've said you've applied 28 times and only granted 4 times, if you look at the other political parties, it's way below what the citizens first have been granted.
Look, please, I would be very unfair to talk about other political parties and strategies because each political party has got their own strategy.
I'm asking you about your strategy. Maybe
our strategy has been mass mobilization, and that is why we have concentrated on applying, even if they refuse. The rally we are seeking for on the 29th, they refused us to have it on the 8th of November. So we pushed it to 29th. Even if they refuse on the 29th, we are going to again propose another date because we want to talk to people of Eastern Province. We want to tell them that you farmers have been neglected. You were promised fertilizer, you were promised chimanga, and it is not happening. The people have to be reminded that better days lie ahead. So we have got our own strategy. We don't know about our colleagues, the strategies that they're employing, but for us it is about mass mobilization, and one of the tools of mass mobilization is those same rallies. That is why you see that we've done 28 times. And out of 28, they have given us 4. 2 of those were given to us when we were still under the umbrella of UKA, where former President Lungu, again, may so rest in peace. Not sure it is resting in peace because it's still in the fridge in Johannesburg. We had one in Samfia under UKA, and another one we had in Kitwe. Then we had another one in Linda, a neighbor.
Yes.
And then the last one we had was the one we had in October in Mofidi.
So what's the back and forth like between the police and the citizens first in these conversations that is happening with you, that is not happening with other opposition political parties?
The conversation we've been having with the police has always been that the police has been telling us that they don't have enough manpower. You can't have the rally on this day because we are now concentrating on voter registration and we don't want you to come. I mean, that's the reason they gave us in Chipata. You can't have a rally here because we are concentrating on voter registration. So when you go to the voting centers, there's only one police officer who's seated there to help with the ECZ. But if we go ahead to have a rally, you'll see how they mobilize to come and stop you. We in the CF are not worried about that. We will keep on pushing so that when we talk about it, it is not an academic thing we're talking about. It is something we have lived. We know the UPND is not democratic. We know the UPND is scared of losing power next year, which they're going to lose anyway. We know the UPND had no plan for this country when they came into government. And so they want to flex their muscles. They want to show that they have done something. They want to show that they have worked. And people will start calling on this program saying UPND has worked, UPND has worked. Yes, UPND has worked to a few people. But if you call 21 hours of load shedding working, then I don't know what working looks like.
How would you describe Zambia's current political climate, and what concerns you most about the direction the country is heading?
The political climate in the country obviously is tense right now. The situation in the country, the political space has shrunk to levels never witnessed before in the history of this country. The autocratic rule of the UPND is having a face all over the country. It is showing. People are scared. People can't talk, and people are just waiting to come and talk when they go to vote, which is a very sad thing. I personally have talked to people quietly. and they have told me to let ino kulanda tiyo pakukamba chifukwa uyu muntu uyu engayusing reason iliyonse kutimanga. And clearly you can see, busy, that never in the history of this country have we had political detainees like the way we have now political prisoners. And that's why we have said we need to review this exercise that the UPND has undertaken, because they have been doing things to punish political revenge instead of them just allowing the law enforcement agencies to do their work.
Why do you say so? Because if you look at the people that are behind bars, there are crimes that are being found guilty of in the courts of law. Have you lost faith in our judicial system?
Look, please, I don't have a problem with people being found with cases and then being taken to jail. What offends me, what offends my spirit, is that you're not giving people an opportunity to exhaust the judicial process. Why can't you give people an opportunity? If a magistrate court finds me guilty, why don't you allow me to go to the High Court? If the High Court insists that the magistrate court was right, why don't you allow me to go to the Court of Appeals? If the Court of Appeals also finds me guilty, allow me to go to the Supreme Court. And if my issue is a constitutional matter, we have said there's a constitutional court. Let me go to the court until I exhaust the whole processes of the law or of the judiciary. Because that is why those stages in the courts or the judiciary have been put. It's when I'm not satisfied. But why should I be convicted by the magistrate court and it ends there? You refuse me bail. You refuse me to go to the High Court, saying your matter has got very limited prospects of success. I mean, give me a chance. Let me go and experience it myself. That is why all these have been put. Most of the people we are keeping today in those jails should not be in those jails, because the majority have applied for bail, which bail has been denied. The majority have applied for bail, and bail has been denied. Surely, a bail, giving somebody a bail is a constitutional right. Somebody should go ahead and get a bail. Yes, it's a preserve of the court, but allow them to exhaust the whole process. So for me, I find that we are losing it as a country, where we want to keep our politics, we want to extend them now to the judiciary. We want to extend politics now to being personal. I think that should not be the case. If our colleagues in the UPND, if Mr. Akainde Ichirema himself was treated the way he's treating his colleagues right now, putting them in jail and denying them bail, he should not even have run for elections himself. He couldn't have run, because Mr. Ichilema had always issues before him. But the process allowed him to continue operating despite him facing all those court issues. He had several of his colleagues who were facing charges. Members of parliament I was sitting with in that house. They were not locked up. They came out and they were pursuing their politics while also attending to court issues. What has changed? Why all of a sudden people will not be given bail? And you call that a thriving democracy? You call the environment fair like that? I think it is not right. And Mr. Ichilema, if you are listening to this program, or your vuvuzelas are listening to this program, I want you to do a bit of introspection. How will you feel yourself? Tomorrow you lose power. Because Mr. Ichilema, you are losing power. Mark my words. You are losing power. When you lose power next year, why would you be denied the freedom to exercise and experience all the courts? Why would you want people, when they come and limit you to the magistrate's court only, or to the High Court only, and not give you an opportunity to go to the Court of Appeals, or whoever will be incarcerated of your colleagues? Why would they be kept in jail and not be given bail to be with families? Because the foundation of Christianity is that we need to build strong families. The moment you put somebody in Chimbokaila, you put somebody in Mukobeko prisons for all those years, the family begins to decimate. It begins to crumble. And when it begins to crumble, you are having a society that is broken. When you have a broken society, you have a bitter community. And a bitter community cannot be a progressive country. And these things are going on deliberately and is enjoying power like that. No, this has to come to an end.
Are you losing faith in the judiciary? Or confidence, should I say?
Look, I don't want to cast aspersions on the judiciary. I know the judiciary is trying their best, but working under very difficult circumstances. They are working under pressure, I can assume, working under very difficult circumstances. We have seen it in this country where there was a ruling done from the Constitutional Court on the late President Edgar Lungu. A matter which was adjudicated on was taken back to the courts of law for them to go and adjudicate or not. Again, over and over. I mean, look, if that is not pressure, what is it? Mr. Ichilema thinks being president is supposed to also control the judiciary, is supposed to control the legislature, and supposed to control the executive. I want to teach him simple civics. Simple civics, Mr. Ichilema, is that the three wings of government must be independent. The executive must be independent from the judiciary. The judiciary must be independent from the legislature so that justice and governance are harmonized properly. That is why you see that the Chief Justice flies a different flag from the Speaker of the National Assembly. The Speaker of the National Assembly flies a different flag from the Republican President. Those go to show you that the wings of government are different. But if you are in the executive, legislature, to go and spoil things, towards governance, we should stop that.
In case you're just joining us right now, where we have Citizens First President, Mr. Harry Kalaba, joins us on the hot seat this morning. We're live on Kwitu FM on 93.3 FM. We're live on Kanela FM on 97.7 FM. We're live on Hot FM on 87.7 FM. Live here in Lusaka, surrounding areas. DSTV, channel 912 countrywide. Go TV, channel 301 countrywide. We're also live on our Facebook page. Mr. Kalaba, you're about to go to the Eastern Province to address the people of the Eastern Province. Majority of them are farmers in that area. What's your view on the delayed payments to farmers, given that only 6.1 billion kwacha of the 11.3 billion kwacha has been dispersed to pay farmers?
Look, I think it's lack of respect for farmers. It's lack of respect, and it's lack of understanding that this country's backbone is farming. There is no way a serious government can keep farmers waiting up to now without payment. And that's the message we're taking to Eastern Province. There is no way you can keep a place like Eastern Province, which has got the capacity to feed the entire country, if properly harnessed. You keep it in a situation where farmers have stayed without buying their seed, farmers have stayed without buying fertilizer, and they're just waiting. Remember that most of our people in those rural areas, those who are doing farming, their income is perennial. They get their monies once in a year, and their budgets revolve around their selling of their maize. But this government has never taken farming seriously. They have never taken farming seriously in the 61 years of our independence. It's the first time that we are hitting January and monies for the last farming season have not been paid to farmers. From the 11.5 billion, you pay 6.1 billion. I think for me, it tells you that the government has never prioritized farming as a serious issue. We have not even attempted to do what Zambia should have been doing according to the Maputo Declaration. Zambia is a signatory to that declaration in Maputo, where we said 17% of our national budget will be on agriculture. We have not done that. So that goes to show you that this government has never been serious with agriculture, but with politics. That is why you can have a government which has not paid farmers begin constituting a technical committee to look at the constitution of Zambia, the so-called infamous Bill 7, when you have not paid your farmers. Why do you find money to put up a technical committee when you have not yet found resources to pay farmers that's waited? First of all, these farmers suffered to find seed in that season. They suffered to plant their maize because you didn't give them fertilizer on time. They had to scrounge for fertilizer. Then even selling, you're also troubling them when they are selling their produce. How can you motivate young people to go into farming like this? How can a young man like yourself, busy, think of saying, I think I should go farming? When you are busy here reading the news every day that farmers are not being given their produce, you look for other things to do. And yet, when you look at a country like China, China over the last 8 years, from 1978 to about 2008, China invested heavily in agriculture. They took a lot of people out of poverty because of agriculture. We have the Prime Minister who has come from China here. They should take advantage. They should not just be taking pictures and smiling. They should ask him, how did you take your people out of poverty for 30 years from 1978 to about 2008? How did you do it? They invested heavily in agriculture, diversified agriculture, which we are not doing, industrialized agriculture. There is no plan for this government. That's why we in the CF will make sure that when we come into government, we want to put a very high premium on agriculture. We want our farmers to know that they can sell their produce to government if they want, or they can sell their produce to whoever they want to sell to. They will have a luxury of choice. And we are not going to hold the farmer to ransom. If you sell your maize today to a CF government, the following day, you are going to be paid because we have put a high premium on agriculture. We have also said we want to give incentives to farmers.
How's that going to be happening, Mr. Kalaba? I want you to break this down because people need to hold you to account to your word.
Yeah. How is this going to be happening? Look, this government has been very careless in the manner they have been handling resources in this country. I just gave you an example of the technical committee, which has been appointed, which is being paid huge sums of money to conduct the exercise. That money could have gone to the farmers. It has not gone there. Misappropriation has kicked in. I want to tell you that there's been a gap, especially in the mining sector. There is a lot of financial seepages that have not been accounted for. You and I know that the mines today are not giving us the revenue as they should be giving us the revenue. That's why we in the CF have proposed that we have to manage these financial seepages. We have said we are going to introduce a body like we had Memako before, a body that was going to be correlating what is being produced and what is being exported. We want to be sure that if it is cobalt being sold, I remember PZ, we only talk about copper in this country. No, we're exporting copper. Exporting copper. Why don't we talk about cobalt? Why? And yet cobalt is fetching much more than the copper price is fetching. I think cobalt, if my memory serves me right, is selling about $30,000 per metric ton. Copper should be about $9,800 per metric ton. So when you compare the two, it is telling you that if we put a high premium on cobalt, Zambia is going to have huge revenues. But they're not talking about it. And yet you know where there's copper, there's cobalt. And cobalt, we also know that if we just took it very seriously, in the next 20-25 years, the European Union has said they are migrating from diesel petrol-propelled vehicles. They are now migrating to electric vehicles. So if the EU, which is the biggest market and it's a big consumer of cobalt, and we are producing cobalt in this country, why don't we put our value on cobalt so that we can have more money here? Because we know what's happening. And they're beginning to buy already. And Zambians are being deprived of all this. But this is coming to an end because CF is coming in government. We are going to make sure that we put money where it's supposed to be. So there's a lot of money for everybody. You have got emeralds on the copper belt. Nobody talks about emeralds. Nobody. KGM mine to KGM mine. Nobody is telling us how much revenue is coming out of there. We have discovered a lot of gold mines all across Zambia. Instead of allowing Zambians, giving small-scale miners licenses like we do ourselves, when we come into government, this business of calling those people who are digging copper illegal miners, we are stopping that. We are going to empower them. They are the ones who discovered the gold in Mufumbwe. The locals need to be given the empowerment, like it's happening in Ghana. That's how you find that those the Gold Coast came up, the Ashanti kingdoms, they are so wealthy. It's because the locals were being empowered, a thing we are not doing in this country. So instead of just talking the talk here, we are going to make sure that we move cadastre there in Mufumbwe, we move cadastre there in Gasenseli, in Mwinilunga, We move Cadastre in Kanyelele, in Mpika, so that Cadastre begins issuing mining licenses to people in real time, right in those places, so that government can raise a lot of revenue. Remember, the more certificates you give out, mining licenses you give out, the more revenue you begin getting as government. So government will begin getting that revenue, and when you ask me a question, where will the money come from? The money will come from all these avenues I'm telling you. Because Mr. Muhango is seated here, he knows how government runs. We are going to make sure that we get the revenue and put it where it belongs for citizens to begin running. And I am not saying this because I'm speaking from an academic exercise. I have been in the system. I know how the system should operate. Someone will ask you, but if you've been in the system, why didn't you do it? I was not president. Now I'm saying, give me the presidency. Give me the overall oversight mandate, and you will see that Zambia is still a country that can be reckoned with.
Let's look at another crisis that we're facing. We've been grappling with for a few years now. What's your assessment of the current electricity crisis and how government's been handling it?
I want to tell you that people should know this, that the government was lying to the Zambian public, that the problem that Zambia had was because the Kariba was underproducing. And so because of the problems of the Kariba, we had load shedding. That was a blue lie. The load shedding has come about as a result of mismanagement. It has come because this government is exporting power to Namibia. This government is exporting power to the DRC Congo. This government is exporting power to South Africa through the SADC Power Pool Agreement. This government is exporting power to Malawi, and we are exporting power to God knows who. Because of that carelessness this government has undertaken to do, we have power deficits. When they came in government in 2021, the PF left us with 4 hours of load shedding. And when Mr. Kainde came, he was told, maintain the 4 hours of load shedding so that we can see how the water levels are going to behave, and that don't do any export of power. Zambia will continue experiencing these 4 hours of load shedding for a period of 5 years, if nothing changes. Mr. Chilema said, no, I promised the people that I was going to end load shedding. So even those 4 hours rationing, stop it. Start giving people power. Remember when he came? For the first 6 months, 8 months, he stopped load shedding. But that stoppage was artificial due to lack of insight on how governance works. Then reality kicked in because the water levels were depleting there, and he started exporting power. Because you know Mr. Chilema is a businessman. He started exporting power, and he thought that's the way to run government. Today, Zambia now is Savannah. We have been sitting here saying we are better than the DRC Congo. We are better than Malawi. We are not better than the DRC Congo. The DRC Congo does not have 21 hours of load shedding. We are not better than Malawi. Malawi doesn't have 21 hours of load shedding, and yet Malawi doesn't even have hydropower stations. We are not better than Namibia because the Namibians are getting 70 megawatts of power from ourselves here. All that we need in this country at peak value is 2,400 megawatts of power. Then there will be no load shedding in this country. Right now, we are having less than that. We're having about 800 megawatts or 600 megawatts a day to run this country. It is a disaster. I have told people that we in the Citizens First are going to end this load shedding. And I've seen articles spring up everywhere. No, even Akainde Ichilema, this is what he said. And I don't like people who compare me to Mr. Akainde Ichilema, who had no clue of how government works. He was speaking, just talking the talk without reference to facts. I am saying Mr. Ichilema is exporting power to the DRC Congo, 140 megawatts of power. We are saying we are going to stop exporting that power. That's with immediate effect once I just left the Bible. So help me God. The ZESCO MD and whoever was involved will be meeting us immediately with my team to ensure that they stop exporting power to the DRC Congo, and we'll send an envoy to Congo to explain to them why we are stopping to export power. We'll send an envoy. Papa Muhango is going to go with other colleagues. They are going to go to the DRC Congo and explain to the DRC Congo that there is no way we can be giving you power when our welders, Mono Zambia, our businesses have collapsed. When our people with barber shops, our businesses have collapsed. When our people with salons, businesses have collapsed. We cannot sustain it. So we are going to cancel that contract. We'll cancel the contract in Malawi. We'll cancel the contract in Namibia. We'll cancel the contract in South Africa without fearing anybody. We are going to cancel so that dignity for our people in this country can return. Once we do that, it will not end at that. What now we'll do is to ensure that we go back to the initial plan, which I, in my capacity then as Foreign Affairs Minister, had started to do in 2016. In 2016, I did travel to the Russian Federation to go and sign a bilateral agreement. It's my signature which is there, for a nuclear power plant facility in Ichongwe there. That nuclear power plant facility is supposed to be generating, when completed, 20,000 megawatts of power. 20,000 megawatts of power. Our consumption capacity in this country without load shedding is only 2,400 megawatts of power. ZESCO today, if they had all these hydropower stations working, the coal plant working in Imamba, they only get about 3,400 megawatts, the whole country. That's all we produce. And then we use 2,4, then they sell the 1,000 megawatts of power. But we are proposing as citizens first that we need to have the 20,000 megawatts capacity nuclear power plant facility commissioned.
How long does it take to put up a nuclear plant that produces that much power?
You talk about maybe only 5 years, because our calculation at the time we were signing the agreement was that we are going to have students coming from Zambia who are good in sciences. And the program even started. They began going to Russia to study nuclear science. The whole idea was by the time they're finishing their 4 years program in Russia, they would come and start running the facility. The facility here also would have finished.
So 5 years for construction, that's a whole term. That means this issue with load shedding is still around.
Now that's a long... No, load shedding will finish because we'll stop exporting power.
But is the power that you're going to claw back from the exports enough to, offset the deficit that we have right now?
No. The power that we are going to get back is going to reduce our deficit from 21 hours to about 5 hours. But then we're going to go further. Remember, even when I was Minister of Foreign Affairs, to cover the gap for ZESCO, sometimes you can even import power extra, so that you can even have extra power for yourselves. So we can still buy a bit of power, but there'll be no load shedding in this country. So we'll be buying a bit of power, we'll stop selling that power, and we'll start constructing the nuclear power plant facility, and then we are going to make sure that we begin giving capacity to power plants like the one in Mamba Collieries, the coal. That's clean energy. We want to give it capacity and open other thermal plants elsewhere in the country so that we can have more power. Of course, we are going to go geothermal. We are going to try to go biomass. We are also going to go solar. But you see, they are telling you, these people by UPND, that no, they are opening a huge solar power plant facility. Solar will not help you to industrialize. Solar won't help you to industrialize. Solar can only work to a certain point. Right now, ask the people with solar in their homes how they are suffering with solar, because there is no sun out there. They are struggling right now. They are now also in darkness because the power that the solar panels can absorb is not as much because of the cloud cover which is there. So for us, we want to ensure that we also move away hydropower stations that are in the southern belt, because the experts have told you and I that the rain pattern now has shifted. It's more centered in the central province. It's more centered in northern province. It's more centered on the copper belt and so on and so forth. So we need to take those hydropower stations, begin developing hydropower plants in these areas to cushion the challenges that we are having in the southern, because Kariba is having a problem of power because of water levels. They keep going down. We have to learn our lessons. So this issue of hydropowers, load shedding, has been mismanaged. It has not been handled well. It has all been because of greed and lack of leadership by the UPND. Why are they selling power when their own people don't have power?
What's your plan with ZESCO? How do you keep it afloat? Because we've heard this from ZESCO themselves to say they need these exports to keep the balance sheets or to keep their books properly right, where ZESCO still runs and is viable. So if you put a plug on all the exports, won't the company shut down?
No, it will not shut down. It will not shut down.
We pay very, very low
ZESCO,
rates for electricity here in the country.
We don't pay very low
compared to the rest.
No,
we pay less.
No, we pay. No,
we pay less than our neighbors.
No, we don't pay less. I think if you check our tariffs, because now they are cost reflective, we are paying even much more than the Namibians are paying. I think we are paying even much more than the
cost reflectiveness was an emergency rate that ARB approved for us to import power. So it's not a permanent thing. It's only a temporal measure.
But
the actual rates are way low than what our neighbors are paying.
These are the lies UPND keep selling to you, and you keep buying them. They come to you and tell you these cost-reflective tariffs are temporal. They are not permanent. We're just using them because we need to import power so that we can stabilize the power situation.
Well, ERB has been communicating every 3 months.
The power situation is not stabilized, and yet people are still paying cost-reflective tariffs, even when they don't have electricity. How can you tell me here that these are temporal when they're affecting our people even without them having power? Like, seriously? No. The UPND did not think through this issue of electricity. And that's why now they're seated on radios, as you and I are speaking, trying to get ideas from us. Because that's what they were doing even when they were in opposition. Theirs is copy, cut, and paste. That's what they do. They just hear what Kalaba said, okay, we are going to put it in this format. We have always said electricity is an engine that can spur development. You can't talk about industrializing. Why did Dr. Kaunda have industries all across Zambia, Pizzi? It's because he had electricity. You can't have a country that is importing literally everything. We are importing, and that the government keeps telling you, they keep selling you a lie, that our GDP is doing much better than it has done from 1964 when we got our independence. How can you perform well in an economy which has got no economic activity happening? How can you have economic activities happening when there is literally no power in the country? The cost of doing business is very high in this country because of power. So when someone is selling you a lie that we are doing better ourselves, nobody has done the way we have done, it means they are pathological liars. The truth of the matter is where we stand right now. Zambia has become poorer than it was 4 years ago.
So how do you keep ZESCO afloat then, Mr. Kalaba?
We are going to
without exports.
We are going to keep ZESCO afloat because we are going to, first of all, I told you about plugging the mines that we are going to plug, the financial seepages. Mm-hmm. That is very key. And I don't want to go in details on how we are going to use that. That is very key in sustaining the operations of ZESCO. But ZESCO will not exist at the expense of the Zambian people who are going for 21 hours without power. That I will not allow. Not in the CF government. ZESCO was created to service the Zambian people. ZESCO was not created to be exporting power so that it can sustain itself. Then what is the purpose of ZESCO being there? Then we might as well be importing power from Namibia. We start stop with ZESCO if their job is to export power and then maintain a UPND workforce. So many UPND people that they have kept in there so that Zambians can remain in darkness. They are selling power to pay salaries. Is that what ZESCO was created for? ZESCO was not created for that. ZESCO is a quasi-government institution created to enable Zambians have access to electricity so that they can spur development. That purpose has been decimated. It has been annihilated by our colleagues in the UPND. They are keeping ZESCO to say ZESCO has to remain afloat. When you are keeping us 21 hours in darkness, this is a country in darkness. This is a country that cannot do any development. And we should be speaking here to sustain ZESCO, which is not working. That is not going to work. We are going to use our own methods, which we will not share with this outgoing UPND government. We will use our own methods of how we are going to take development, of how we are going to use ZESCO, of how we are going to stop this load shedding without the UPND fidgeting around and making our ideas look like we are child's play.
In case you're just joining us on the hot seat this morning, we have Citizens First President Mr. Harry Kalaba joining us on the hot seat. It's now time for you to be part of this conversation. You can call us on 0974-870-877 or 0950-955-877. Those lines will get you through to the hot seat this morning. Do call us up. Remember to restrict yourself to asking one question so that we get to have Mr. Kalaba respond to as many questions as he can.
You're listening to the Hot Seat on Hot FM 87.7. It's time for you to call now and get involved. Call now and get involved.
This is the Hot Seat. Call us up. It's 0974-870-877. Good morning. It's 0974-870-877. 0950-955-877. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. It's Zulu. Supporting the cricket. Good morning,
we couldn't hear you.
President of Citizens First. We live in Nelson. We live in Federal.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now, it appears that your interest is focused on bringing down the Republican president. Not just like he was in the, you remember us when he was in the opposition. It was that, it's that. Now, mind you, President is just doing the best of the bad work. You people left to Kalaba when you were part of PF. And they still, mind you, they still collective responsibility demands collective punishment. Okay? So I don't think Kalaba because I'm the next, I doubt we will not forget the 26 that Kalaba was part of PF.
What's your question, Mr. Campella? Please get your question.
Anyway, thank you so much. Okay, bye.
0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Would like to hear from you this morning. Do restrict yourself to asking one question so that we get as many questions as we can. We'd like to get as many questions as we can so that Mr. Kalaba gets to tackle a lot of questions on the hot seat. So call us up now, 974-870-877. Good morning.
Good morning, Kron.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Proud from Garden. I want to only to let the Gambian people, including opposition.
Looks like we have lost Dr. Proud there. Do call us back. I can see you're still on the line, but we can't hear what you're saying. Do call us up. It's 0974-870-877 or 0950-955-877. Hello, good morning.
You can hear me live?
We can hear. Please go ahead with your question. Ask your question. Again, the line is terrible. The line is terrible. You have to try and call us back.
I think the line has sensed that Dr. Proud doesn't have a question to ask us. So these lines don't want to be bringing, just talking the talk here.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, busy.
Morning to you. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Kingsley, the voice of Chamba Valley.
Kingsley, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Kalaba.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question.
Please.
You said you end load shedding. For how long would it take for you to end load shedding? Because I heard you contradicting yourself. You said you send the science or whatever engineers to China. In 4 years, then they will be done with their incentives and whatever. And you import power so that you reduce the this deficit of power. Then you cut the contract. Are you sure that they will allow you the neighboring countries to sell power for you then you yourself, you want to cut those in for them. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure that you can never even win in the come 2026 because even people here where I'm saying they can't even recognize you. I think you work.
0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Good morning.
Good morning, Pierce.
Morning to you. What's your name?
This is Winfred on the line. Mr. President, Hari Kalaba. Munisha Nikanave.
Meeting about Vincent?
Winfred, within Lusaka.
Oh, Winfred, thank you, sir.
Sure. Chakubalila po. Defo kumitasha wa Kalaba. Pamulandu wa kulangisha utungurushi. You know, ngakuyu muntu awena Zambia banelekesha hapo sana. Nimwe bahari. Bahari mwarangisha utungurushi during PF under the difficult circumstances. You said enough is enough. I can't continue with this regime, which is full of, a corruption. Just there, people like myself and those who listen well, just, identify to say this is a man of integrity, man of, dignity, man of good morals. Mr. Kalaba, to be honest with you, you bought me just from that stance which you made. So now, kashitaka kwakana. Bakalaba ndefo kumepisheki pusho. Ukulinga nesile chitika muchalo chesu according to the government, in a situation whereby people are not free to express themselves, are not free. There's such seed of revenge. Imanga mwaisa next year, mumaka. How are you going to see to it that you clean up such kind of, dead politics? How are you going to do it? Are you also going to show revenge? That's my question. We are behind you. We are behind you, Mr. Kalaba. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your call. Please respond to those calls.
Thank you very much. I will start with Mr. Winfred. Mr. Winfred, I want to tell you before my colleagues and the people of Zambia here that our politics are not politics of vengeance. Our politics are not politics of retribution. Our politics are not politics of injuring or inflicting pain in the other so that we can feel good. Our politics is unity politics. We want to unite Zambia. We want to make sure this country, which has been divided because of our politics, comes together. We want Zambia to belong to all Zambians. And I want to say this and put it on record. Even Mr. Ichilema himself, he should not even worry about losing power to Hari Kalaba, that we are going to victimize him or we are going to humiliate him. That is not going to happen. Mr. Uchilema has been given the right by citizens to be president of our country. And we are going to respect that. We'll give him the befitting respect that a former head of state is supposed to get. We will not treat him like he treated his friend who has now died, President Lungu. We will treat him with a decorum befitting a former head of state. We will be sending him to summits. We'll be sending him for meetings. We'll be sending him to places where Zambia requires an elderly statesman to go so that he can go and represent Zambia. We will send him so that he can use his skill to go and use it properly there to go and talk. Because he's good at talking. He's a talker, as you know. So we want to use his talking skills there so that he can go and talk the talk, but we are not going to humiliate him as a government. And nobody in my government will be allowed to humiliate the former president because he has done his service to Zambia. So be rest assured that ours is unity. We want everyone to feel a part of the CF government. Mr. Kingsley, voice of Chamba Valley, he was saying that I did contradict myself when I talked about load shedding. I did not contradict myself. I was only telling you the stages of how we are going to handle this load shedding. I said the first stage is going to be that we are going to stop exporting power to the DRC and to all these other countries that Zambia is exporting to. We will stop because we don't have the electricity to export. If we have electricity to export, Zambia would not be in darkness after we export our electricity. So me, I'm saying the ones who elect me to become president are Zambians. And because they are Zambians, and I belong to a party called Citizens First, we will place our citizens first by ensuring that they first of all have power. And if there will be some little power to export, then we are going to export that power. Malawi does not export power. Have the Malawans died? Zimbabwe is not exporting any power. Have the Zimbabweans died? Why should we be selling a commodity we don't have? We will not allow that. I'm sorry. We are going to stop the exporting of power so that Zambians can have electricity, and that is a fact. Will they let you? Will they allow you to stop exporting power? Of course they will allow me. Zambia is a sovereign state. It's a sovereign state. It can do what it wants to do with its own sovereignty. Yes, Zambia is a member of SADC, is a member of COMESA, member of the African Union, and we have to coexist, and that we agree. But other countries will not be productive at the expense of Zambians. I am sorry. The second stage, I said, was to begin commencing the long-term plan of the nuclear power plant facility. We want that nuclear power plant to commence with earnest so that we can have the country have some 20,000 megawatts of power within a period of 5 years. And after 5 years, you are busy had even asked me, but that is a full term. Does it matter? Zambia is not about me. If within 5 years we'll have finished load shedding and we'll have made sure that we begin exporting power to other countries, that is what I want to do. We want to industrialize this country. There is no way, PZ, we can stay in a country where we produce cotton. Cotton comes from Choma. Cotton is coming from everywhere in this country. But we are buying amaduvets, our women, our men. They are always going to Guangzhou to go and order amaduvets. Why should that be the case? That is stopping. Because if we can make our own duvets here, the Congolese market, which is our biggest market, over 100 million people in the Congo DRC, they will come and buy the duvets from Zambia. Why should we be buying soya chunks from Tanzania when we are growing soya beans all over the place? Why? Why should we allow Malawi, which is importing power from Zambia, to be processing our tobacco? The cigarettes we are smoking are being processed by Malawi because they have got power. We are exporting too much and importing poverty, in the words of Dangote. That is coming to an end. So that is a long-term plan in terms of ending of that load shedding and having more power in the country. Is the nuclear power plant facility.
Okay.
Mr. Kampela was saying, I have spent most of the time here talking about President HH. I don't know if that's what I've done. By the way, President Hakainde Hichilema cannot escape being talked about because he's the current head of state. There's a saying in, is it Tumbuka Ongoni? Amukulu Shumutu?
Mutu ukulu sule wankonya.
Aha. Mutu ukulu sule wankonya. So the president has got is like a Mutu ukulu because he's the head of state. He's the big name in this country. And he's the one who's sitting in the seat where I'm going. So I have to talk about him. I have to say what he has failed so the Zambians can compare when they go to vote in the next 6 months. Mr. Kampela says, we won't forget that you were a part of PF. It's okay. Just like Zambians won't forget that they have stayed for 21 hours without load shedding. It's okay. Zambians won't forget that they were duped, that the price of fuel would cost 6 kwacha per liter. Zambians won't forget that umutengo wa bunga bali tubepeli obufi. Kucha tukalashito obunga pali 50 kwacha. Zambians will not forget that bali tubepeli obufi abakalamba besu bakainde Hichilema. Kuchila benanga baisa mupawa dollar 10 hours ngaba sworn in, by 14 hours in dollar sta collapse. That's wakalabe. So don't worry about that. In the last call of Wilfred Wachelanda, I resigned with my head high. And that's why I'm still standing here, because I am a man of principle. I'm not doing things for expedience. I am doing things because Zambia can be better. And that Mr. Ichilema is just destroying our country with his UPND. And if we allow him another 5 years, I'm allowed to take after 2 weeks. Only ISA for 3 hours. Footing us after 3 weeks, now 2 weeks. Again, ISA after 1 month. Only 2 hours of none. Because we told you that these people don't have a plan. Me, I'm giving you a plan of how it will work. And when I tell you, we stop load shedding on the very first day of my presidency, no, this is what even HH was saying. I am not Akainde Ichilema. My name is Harry Kalaba.
Mr. Kalaba, let's get some questions from our social media platforms here. We have Tendai here who has a question who says, good morning, Mr. Kalaba. You agree with me that most of these problems are due to excess presidential powers. What will you do to reduce presidential powers?
And it's good Mr. Mwango is also here, because we were discussing this matter yesterday.
Thank you.
Maybe I can give you an opportunity to tell the nation, because if I say for myself, you will say no, Kalaba just lying. But we were discussing this matter just yesterday on why Kalaba should not be the Igwe. Kalaba must be a servant of the people. The reason why we are having heads of state behaving the way they are behaving, especially here in Zambia, I woke a few months taking committee, even when the Concord said something else, it's because of excess powers.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and good morning, listeners. Firstly, I want to say that I joined the Citizens First Party because of its manifesto, because of its principles and values, and because of the leadership of President Kalaba, whom I've followed closely. Having said that, I want to say that the description of how I would want to describe President Kalaba is that President Hari Kalaba is an embodiment of the late founding President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Is an embodiment in terms of issues of democracy and governance of President FTJ Chiluba. Is an embodiment of President Sata, the late President Sata, in terms of how he wanted Zambia and the heart that he had for the Zambian people, especially the youths, when he was talking about more money in the pockets of the people, lower taxes. Is an embodiment of President Mwanawasa, who was a very principled leader, zero tolerance to corruption. Is an embodiment of President Arabi, who was a president for all Zambians, where we never saw the ugly aid of tribalism. Is an embodiment of the late President Lungu, who was a very humble leader. I thought that I should be able to state that as one of the things that attracted me to be part of the team of President Kalaba, with many other people who are actually joining Citizens First. Now, coming back to the question, I think the President has been very elaborate on this. Firstly, is to ensure that the separation of powers amongst the three organs of government are there. That is what is very critical. As long as we ensure that the three arms of government, that is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, they play their role and they are not interfered with. And we ensure that we strengthen these three arms of government as compared to what we're actually seeing today. The other issue is the aspect of ensuring that the civil liberties that our founding father, Dr. Kaunda, and many others fought for are restored. Laws like the cyber security has got to be repealed. Laws like the Public Order Act, which is a colonial act. You've heard him say it, and we sit in our meetings and we talk about this. And it's not talking about it, it's actually doing this. I come from the background of civil society. And definitely, it is because of my background and because I believe in the Citizens First Manifesto and the leadership of President Kalaba that I've been able to join for the first time in my life. The only party that I've joined is Citizens First. I've never been a member of any political party in my life. I've been a civil servant. I have been an activist. I have been a trade unionist. But this is the time that I believe that together with Citizens First, we should be able to bring back this country, especially around the issues of governance.
Okay.
Back to its feet.
Mr. Mwango, thank you very much for your response. It's 0974-870-877 or 0950-955-877. Let's hear from you this morning. What questions do you have for Citizens First President, Mr. Harry Kalaba on the hot seat? Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning to you. What's your name?
Yeah, this is King Freddy from Tongwe.
Please go ahead with your question.
Good morning, my President Kalaba.
Good morning, sir. I didn't pick your name.
King Fred.
King Fred. Oh, again.
Yeah, this is King Fred, who was also CFO Tongwe. Tongwe Chairman President Kalaba.
Oh, King Fred. Okay, my dear.
King Fred, before Christmas, I will invite you so that you can meet it. Even you're going to find those people which you assign me.
Thank you, sir.
I think President Kalaba, Samuel and Nas Patasa, Naman, also favor Pamondel and the Lumbaba show. Amala IPS 0203 1 hour to 2 hours. Mamba Bushe to Karabe, Sibanda, Rashani, Gatwaranda, Go, Nishukum, Makuri, Makadazi, Vayu PND. Nishi, Tukarashan, Mutaro, Muleno, Kuvashire, Valuvinda. Valuvindo Kuvashataki, Police, Varadino, Kata, Vayu Tavika. For our position in the Panga Kofika meeting with our Antova, the full president, so police in the academic transfer. This Moka Yamusangoshan. To a Papa UPND, will not push at the UPND, our opposition, putting a place on the arm of violence. To a Papa to whatever HH. Therefore, free campaign 2026, not to Shakura Chingamo opposition. The party to CF to focus on borrowed paper, even our friend of CF Nazana to focus on the borrowed paper.
King Fred, thank you. Thank you for giving enough time to get your point across. Thank you. It's 0974-870-877, 0950-955-877. Those lines get you through to the hot seat. Good morning.
Morning.
Morning to you. What's your name?
Felix.
All right, Felix, please go ahead with your question.
My President, how are you?
Hello, Felix. How are you? Where are you calling me from?
From Mateo.
Okay.
Mr. Kalaba.
Sir.
The trading has troubled us a lot. So I've heard how we have elaborated so much about trade trading. You said Zambia needs just about 2,400 megawatts to end this trading. And you also talked about introducing the nuclear power plant.
Yes.
Now, I've heard that the nuclear power plant is very dangerous. And we have heard that in 2 countries it exploded. Now, do we have the capacity to handle this nuclear power plant? Thank you so much. Yes, our country do have the capacity to handle it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll allow you to tackle those 2 questions because I'm looking at our time.
Okay, very good.
To come to a close. Yeah.
Let me say this: that yes, when you sign a bilateral agreement with the Russian Federation, they are taking care of all the excesses, all the dangers you might think of, because even Amalite it's dangerous. That's why kulavati mapose mudia kulabo kuskwila more after some time, because mapose naonga catch fire Felix. Zesco can be very deadly. If you want to Amalite, ni prevention, kuwika ama tools in place. I allow for abantu to avoid getting exposure to excesses. Fionse fintu fivi. ngatamufishire hando bwino. Everything is dangerous, including Zesco. You know, PG, there was PZ, there was a feeling of people, Bamuhango, that if you are using liquefied petroleum gas, people are being discouraged from using gas stoves. Gas stoves, we don't have gas stoves. Today, most of the people are using gas stoves in their homes because they have been told on how to use gas. So they know, you do this. When people are taught on how to use these electrical things or these energy things, they will use them appropriately. Echimochi in a nuclear plant. We had two countries fairly bomoka. Tamwa mfire mwati na malaita ayi nefe tulebeka wazesku aya yali ocha abantu wa Madagascar. Bali pia abantu. But the fact that nava pia ku Madagascar kuno mzambe tamwalige kupanga malaita pantu kwa bali pia. Mass safety measures, and we understand nuclear energy are very explosive, but Fionse ama gadgets ama Russian Federation working with our Zambian experts, they are going to ensure that they put those safety nets in place. So it is okay. Don't even worry about it. We are going to make sure that we do it. Ba America, ba France, ba South Africa, ba Mozambique, they are using nuclear energy in Mozambique. How come tafile bumuka Mozambique? First bumuka mnamu Zambia. How? Tafika bumuke because we are a responsible leadership. We'll make sure when we bring things like that, it is to enhance the livelihood of our people, not to endanger it, not to endanger them.
And King Fred?
King Fred, what did King Fred say? Did you get?
Oh, he was also talking about load shedding.
Oh, load shedding. King Fred was talking about one barber shop, by the way. I'm a light now. I'm a light. Yes, a 02. Number talkulabe ifibanda, and it is true. You know, if tulele andapo pali load shedding, abantu ma compound village wala busy. I'm a light na yaya. Alo ba minister badi shire pa TV, pa radio. Ba minister balando kutila. Mma compound ama light ya kulaya for 10 hours. Bakula kwa tama light for at least 10 hours. Tafire chitikefi. Balu mbula nama compound bale mbele. And one of the compound wa bikirepo busy. It is your compound and my compound. Linda. Bali bikirepo palindo kutila. Mulinda ama light ya kulaya. But ama light kulinda ya laya. Kwa ama light ya nikulinda. So, kuti muamo na taba nesu wako itama plans. Ama plans wako itama kuwepa fi obufi. Utatuwa ikali obufi inge chalo. We are intentional because of lies. We have to stand up. If you know it's painful to most of the UPND guys and those who sympathize with the UPND. Nomba akanso nikafuirire muivula. Pamenso ya munove. Tape mankala mwaikudia. Tatu abatine ba UPND. We have to tell them the truth. Because the Bible says the truth shall set you free. So yes, we recognize us as CF. We know the challenges you are going through. Not to ishwa mule chula. Mama minibus drivers. Not to ishwa mule chula. Mwema barber shop owners. Mwa masaluni mule chula. You are suffering. Even just some ordinary workers. They are suffering a lot. But we are telling them, don't worry. We are coming. We know. I was telling one young driver the other day. I said, ngakuliaba le chula ma young drivers because imwe kwati mule bombera fia mahala. Ni charity fee. Olo government ile filo kumiyumfwa. Ngamwayo ba government ati yo. Le kafita mpako business imbi. Ni business yo ino umpele. Unalata mpako. Potandeke ya yango. So, it is only a government which doesn't care, which is going to respond to people like that. But all those things will take care of them after August 13th. Vayango driver, we know what happened in Morocco with companies like yourselves. Zambia will even do better.
Mr. Kalaba, I'd like to thank you very much for coming through to the hot seat this morning.
Thank you very much. But allow me to give I wanted to give the number for Bamuhango. I should give you a number. And also, I'll give the number for the district chairman here so that the people can talk to them after this program. Is it okay? Thank you so much. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My number is 077 094 3299. 077 094 3299. Thank you.
Then the number for our district chairman, Mr. Carlos, is 0977 0977 80 87 20. 0977 80 87 20. The number for our National Youth Chairman is 0977 22 5303. 0977 225303. Please get in touch with these people. Let's run with the citizens first, and let's do it.
All right.
God bless you and yours.
All right, there you have it. That's the hot seat for this week. Do join my colleague Chisha Mubambe for another edition of the hot seat on Tuesday next week. Coming up next is the Urban Vibe right here on Hot. The heat is on.
That was the hot seat. Don't forget to join next week at the same time. Exclusive to Hot 87.7.
The new Fruticana smoothie in 4 exciting flavors. Fruticana smoothie, color your mood.
Kotalala kosisi la konfika bie iye na nila stilo mfrika fi ukamwamo kasipu imamve kache chayamo kakoko popanga bine yamo batala Nilast Coca-Cola.
Go Delivery is the perfect solution for all your delivery needs. Use the app to order a delivery by motorbike, by car, or even a cargo truck for the bigger parcels. Send your parcels via Yango and enjoy fast delivery, affordable prices, and real-time tracking. Download the Yango app and try delivery now. Yango is an informational service. Delivery and other services are provided by third parties independently.